Namaste. Welcome. It's a blessing to be here with you again today. The practices today will focus on what we will call the royal seat. The journey of meditation, it takes us to our highest self. So for us to look at our seat as something quite royal and of worthiness. And so when we begin to approach the Dharma, and Dharma has several different interpretations. It can be translated as one's personal potential and purpose. But in the Buddhist tradition, Dharma means the teachings of Buddha. And in the teachings of Buddha, they highly encourage that we approach the teachings first by hearing them, so by listening. And then second, through contemplation. So we contemplate the teachings. And third, we meditate on the teachings. So we actually practice the teachings. And my very dear Buddhist teacher, Khenchen Thrangu Rinpoche, he shared that we could actually sum all of Buddha's teachings into 3 primary teachings. And I personally love this, as the Buddhist tradition has many, many, many teachings. So to sum them all up, the first is that we do our best to perform right action. So we do good things. The second is to avoid bad action. So to avoid bad things. And the third is to tame the mind. And so here we are. I think many of us come to meditation to help relax the mind, to help calm the mind. And one of the main influences on our mind is our seat, the actual seat that we take. So we have parts of the mind often referred to as the ego, and parts of the mind will avoid the discomfort or the achiness that's involved by facing our inner obstacles, by moving through our inner landscape, and that requires a great deal of challenge and through that discomfort. So parts of the mind will do whatever it can to avoid that sensation. And one way it will avoid it is through physical discomfort, through the sensations in the body. So our seat playing a role in relaxing the mind, our seat playing a role in actually focusing our concentration. You know, otherwise, if we can't relax the mind, if we can't focus our concentration, the teachings tell us that the kleshas rise, that fluctuations of the mind take over. According to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there are 5 main kleshas. They are egoism, attachment, aversion, ignorance meaning a lack of knowledge, and fear. And so these tend to rise when we have an erratic mind. So when we can allow the seat in and of itself to be comfortable, then we begin to stabilize the mind and we begin to relax and calm the mind. So today I would like to start by just focusing on developing a comfortable seat and just share all the different options for you. And often it depends on where you are physically, emotionally, psychologically, and it can change by the day. So I highly encourage you to be flexible in your seat and to change it up if need be. So I'm going to start by just going through some of the props, because the key is to have lots of props to support your comfort. So today I'm just putting 2 blocks together, as this supports the openness in my personal hips. So when it comes to comfort, we want to focus on the ankle joints, the knee joints, and the low back. And so these all need lots of space to be comfortable. And one of the keys to creating space in all of three of these places is by elevating the pelvis. So I elevate it on these blocks. If you have any rectangle blocks, you can also add some comfort here and elevation here. And if you have pillows or bolsters, they're also a good way to sit. The first way I'm going to show you to sit is what I call the straddle seat. And this is one of my favorites. And I elevate the pelvis. I'm sitting on the edge of a bolster. You can sit on the edge of blocks or pillows. And here I just tend to give a lot more space to my ankles and my knees when I'm sitting for an extended period of time. And you can also create a cross-legged seat. And so the cross-legged seat, you can sit in your cross-legged seat in a couple different ways. And Sukhasana is one of the kind of baseline cross-legged seats. And this is when your shins cross in the middle of one another and your feet themselves work more under the knees. And it's good to keep your feet slightly active if you're working with any knee issues. So if you press through the outer edge of the pinky toe of your foot, it helps kind of lift the shin and from there support the knees. So the other thing I wanted to highlight in a cross-legged seat is that you can use blankets. The blankets tend to, especially if you're nursing any knee issues. So I'm just going to show you a really comfortable way to support and give yourself that extra coziness. Is I rolled up a blanket and I kind of wrap it underneath my femur bone, underneath my shin, and underneath the ankle, so that the femur bone and the shin and the ankle are all resting on top of the blanket. And so if you have two of them, it even makes it more juicy, more comfortable. Anything to tame the mind. So once as you roll up the blanket, do your best to put them underneath the ankle, the shin, and the outer thigh. And now I'm in a cross-legged seat, what I would call Siddhasana. And this requires a little bit more opening in the hip joint. And it's just more of an open seat. For some of you, it might feel very good. The ankles are in line with each other, and then the ankle joints are in line with the pubic bone. Okay? So this is another way to create that supportive, stable seat. And so from there, it kind of gives you an advantage point to support the mind so it doesn't get so distracted by the physical discomfort of sitting. Okay, so the other option I wanted to mention, two other options. For those of you that are feeling very fatigued or you're very have uncomfortableness in the back body, for example, lying down is also an option for you during the meditation practices. However, I do want to highlight that we have these ascending and descending currents that rise up and down the subtle architecture of your body. So the subtle body, up and down the spine. And a lot of the ancient scriptures, a lot of the meditation lineages talk about how the vertical position plays a significant role in our awareness expanding. However, if we're not feeling supportive enough in a vertical seat, if we don't have the vitality or the prana and it feels better to lie down, then I highly encourage you to just lie down. But when you're lying down, create a couple different extra comforts for yourself. So if you have a blanket, you can place your skull on it. It may tend to help keep the natural curve of the neck. And then if you have blankets or pillows, you can also place them underneath your knees. Okay? So then when you're coming to lie down, I often invite the pelvis to lift. You just give a little scoop to the tailbone, then lower the pelvis down. And then when you come all the way down, do your best to tuck one shoulder blade under and then the next. So the front body is being held by the back body. And from here, you can move your body into a relaxed state, relaxed, comfortable state. And if you're feeling a little on the cold side, it may be good to cover yourself with any kind of shawl or blanket in the meditation practice. Now, for those of you that are nursing low back, hip discomfort, sitting in a chair may be the best option for you. If you're sitting in a chair during your meditation, which is always a beautiful option for many of us, I just highly encourage you to take your pelvis more toward the edge of the chair so that all four corners of the feet can be rooted onto the ground and you can maintain a more tall spine. Just be in your royal seat to set up a comfortable seat so that you can allow your highest self to rise and really allow the universal love within you to rise up by setting up these very little subtle refinements. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you very soon.